unique. There we are. We are live, joined by Jim Davis, who is probably a 5-minute walk away from me right here. We're in the same HOA, and we connected because Jim here, I'm going to introduce you, is opening Fire and Ice. Show off that logo for the folks watching. Fire and Ice Wellness, opening in Longmont, Colorado. We are located in Erie, Colorado, so not part of Boulder County for those a little further away. Jim, how you doing today?
Man, doing fantastic. We're excited to be getting open here pretty soon. But right now it's just run, taking care of all those little details,
Yeah, and just for the funds, I know it's June, but what's the grand opening day or the soft opening?
So yeah, we should have construction done mid-May, and then first week in June, kind of open the doors and all of our, do a soft opening there for a few weeks, and then I think we're going to shoot for the week after 4th of July for a grand opening event where we didn't really want to do it on the holiday weekend, but I think the following week would be the right time for us. So, but
awesome.
we'll have doors open, doing a soft opening, hopefully here in June.
Awesome. Before we continue, I do want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, drinkelement.com/fitcare. Those familiar, this is possibly the best electrolyte on the market. I think I'd make that argument. We're talking wellness here. We're always talking about ways to improve your health. So LMNT.com, and that's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. I take at least one of these a day. Living here in Colorado, I think we need almost 2. Depends on your diet, all that good stuff. But yes, wanted to shout those guys out. Have you tried?
I'll back up. I'll back that up too, because we also use Element on our own, my wife and I, and yeah, we have usually I just stick to one a day. My wife definitely does. So.
I forgot. That's actually how we kind of connected. I posted in our Facebook HOA group and was like, "Hey, does anyone want some Element? I got some in my garage here." So
yeah, we came to the same destination in 2 different ways, and yeah.
There you go. So let's shift back to Fire and Ice Longmont. Yeah. What led you to the wellness space and to open Fire and Ice? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's there's kind of 2 different people that ended up in the wellness space. There's the ones that were found themselves there early on, and then there's the rest of us that kind of had some kind of health crisis that crashed us into it. And I think that's kind of where we ended up. Where 3 years ago, almost to the day, like 3 years ago, right around this time, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was very small, caught very early. We were very fortunate. Everybody's okay now, but as you imagine, that's a lightning bolt in your family. And so as we were going through, her, she had to do a minimum round of chemo, and we rented a hyperbaric chamber during that time to help her recover from the effects of the chemotherapy. It kind of helped her, recover much quicker and helped her heal after the effects of that, supercharged her treatment in a way. And while that was here, I might as well use it as well. And so I just started using it as as just, somebody that wasn't necessarily needing that type of effect. And so I could see the effects of that on me as just an individual. So fortunately, I really fell in love with it. And then beyond that, we also right around the same time got ourselves a infrared sauna, and that became our podcast and research time to ourselves. And we listened to all the podcasts and all the all the audio books on tape, and as we were listening to one of them, they were talking about a franchise model that they were putting out, and we thought about it, and we were like, you know what, we could do this. We're in a position where I was ready for a new challenge and a new role, and we had a passion for all of these different modalities, and saw a real gap in services in this area. There's some in Boulder starting to pop up, but not in Longmont, not in, So we thought, hey, let's give this a go. And we decided to do it on our own rather than a franchise model. That's, I think, gives us a lot more flexibility as far as what we can offer and how we can, set prices that make sense for our customers, and we can pivot to to what works for the people that come and see us. So yeah, along that same time as we were thinking about doing that, the other part of this for me personally was taking over medications for my dad. My folks are both in their mid 80s, mid to late 80s, and as I was taking over his pills, so that I have to send him a number of pill emojis every day that he's supposed to take, and you start realizing he's taking this pathway of pharmaceuticals. He's taking pills now that counteract the side effects of other pills, and you start asking yourselves, what do you got to do? What do I as a person need to do to not wait until I get sick, then go to doctor, then start taking more pharmaceuticals and more and more and more? How do I not get on that train to begin with? And so yeah, it's like started really looking at all these different ways to improve our longevity going forward. So that's where we kind of ended up getting on this whole crazy train, and now we are last year, last year on March 28th, so almost exactly a year ago, I stepped away from my role in administration with Excel Energy, and I decided let's make this happen. And so now we're a few months away from opening the doors.
Very exciting stuff, and I think the community of Longmont, Erie, where we are, I think is going to be very excited to have that offering. Thank you for sharing some of your personal stuff too. Appreciate that authenticity and transparency is always pleasant to hear. So you mentioned hyperbaric oxygen and infrared sauna, two of the services you guys will be offering, correct?
Yeah. So our sauna, what we're going to do with that is we're putting our sauna in a room with a cold plunge as well. So you can, and it'll be a larger sauna, so you can have a group of friends in there and they can take turns, going in and out of the cold plunge or have contrast therapy. And we'll have both of that whole contrast therapy, and you can use both services for just the one credit. That's kind of the way we wanted to set that up. But yeah, so we're going to have that. We're going to have a walk-in cryo chamber, which is, we're very excited about. That one's great. Also with the cold plunge, it's great for, inflammation and joint muscle recovery, improved circulation. You get a calorie burn out of it. And when you do it, like it both gives you an energy boost during the day, especially like that 3 o'clock slump. But then also when you do that night, you sleep like a baby. So it really improves and impacts sleep. And it's, so many of these different modalities, the sauna as well. Like once you start impacting how people sleep, it's funny how it's all connected, right? Like your sleep is one of the linchpins to your overall health. So that one's definitely, for me, that's one of the big game changer ones, is the cryo chamber. So we're going to offer that. We're also going to have localized cryo treatment as well. So if you have a specific pain, tennis elbow or knee pain, we'll have cryo treatment for that as well. That service also can be used for cryo slimming, cryofacials, stuff like that. More esthetician style treatments. But so we'll have those, and then beyond that, we're going to have a lot. We're going to have a lot packed into this little space. We're going to have a halo salt therapy booth that'll have red light with it as well. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 service. But the Halo salt therapy is microparticles of salt in the air, and it's really good for the respiratory system. The medical term for it is mucoactive. So yeah, kind of self-explanatory, but it gets everything out of the lungs, out of the sinuses. It's great for cold and flu season, and it's great for fire season around here, where you can literally feel it in your lungs all the time. But it's also great for just anyone that struggles with respiratory ailments, and be it asthma or other uh, respiratory ailments. So that one's we're really excited for as well. Um, the hyperbaric chamber, that one we're is another one we're really excited for. We got a one that you can sit upright in, and that holds two people inside of it. So it's actually, you can have more than one person in there, and the that's one, it's adding oxygen straight to your bloodstream. So it's really adding oxygen to your plasma is what it's doing, and it's good for especially healing injuries when it comes to like muscle and tissue injuries, or surface level injuries as well. The large heavy micro or medical grade ones are used for like burn victims and pre and post op surgery. We're not doing that. We're recovering from physical sports related injuries, but it's the same principle at work there. But it also works for fortunately, where we're going to be located over at Village at the Peaks there in Longmont, there's a lot of hotels by there. So anybody that's recovering from or having an issue with the elevation that's from out of town, it'll be good for them. But it's also what I found when I used it. And is that it also just helps with like cognitive clarity, right? Like it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a like an energy boost, but it was it just helped to clear your mind a little bit, and have just the extra oxygen in your brain. So that's oh, and then the other one is probably what we anticipate to be one of our most popular services, which is red light therapy, and we're going to have a more powerful red light bed, where it's a lay down style instead of the stand up styles. It's going to be, that's great for stimulating collagen production from the cells, from the mitochondrial health in general. The collagen production aids in it's the fuel that your body's using to build new muscle and tissue. That's why you would use it for like athletic recovery. But most people really see the effects when it comes to skin health. That's where it has its most obvious effects. But muscle recovery is where like all the pro athletes are using that now. A lot of them, what you'll see is they're pairing red light therapy with their massage therapy. So when they're getting body work done, they're doing it in a room full of red light. Like that's kind of the trend now. But we're going to have, ours is going to look more like a tanning bed style, where you can actually lay down in it. I think it's a little more comfortable for customers. I think they're a little more. I think they like that style of bed rather than the stand up ones that you see pretty commonly. Beyond that, we're also going to have the list goes on. We're going to have compression therapy up front with compression leg sleeves. We're going to have some esthetician services as far as like body wraps and face peels, and we're going to have those in a room with our float bed. So we have a zero body float bed that's, instead of being like a wet float where it's immersion, or sensory deprivation, where it's all black, and this is just it's more like a waterbed version of that. It's not all dark and you don't lose your ears don't get submerged. So, but it's the same thing where it's an Epsom salt solution that you're floating in zero G, which is, you know, it's good for, getting all the weight off of joints and for recovering that way, but also for the, um, it's also good for like your overall sleep. It's almost like my experience with it is it's kind of like almost a forced meditation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You get
I'd
in
agree
there
with
and
that
you
as
kind of
far as
lay
the
down
float
and
tank, and I would also say it
yeah.
is magnesium tends to be best absorbed through the skin.
Mhm.
So I find for sure when I've done the float tanks, I think it's just the absorption of the magnesium through your skin hanging out there for that long,
Yeah.
allowing you to super absorb. Most people are deficient in magnesium. It's not as easy to do a blood test and just show that. And actually, you guys might be in some luck. Not to celebrate someone else closing down, but the closest float tank place that I saw is actually closing down.
Oh,
Radiate
really?
or whatever they were called. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's up there on Arapahoe. I know
off
them.
Arapahoe, yeah. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, they're closing, and yeah, but float tanks are definitely one of my faves for sure.
Yeah. It's
Um,
this is gonna be an interesting one where it's it's really good for a lot of different. But so yeah, that's gonna be. I think that's the last of our services. It's a
you
long
did a great job, Jim. You did a great
We
job listing it all
we
out.
had a small space, but we managed to have our architects like lay it out by the square inch so we could get all of this stuff in there.
Yeah.
Um,
As,
yeah.
as far as a membership model, what are you guys offering in that regard? Is it
So
per use or monthly or?
yeah, so it's going to be now we are going to be flexible on that as far as what we're able to do. We are going to feature a membership model, which which will be it'll amount to the different levels amount to how many credits per week. So like our base model or our core membership is 2 credits per week, right? So that's so it amounts to 8 per month. So for that, right now we're we've got that broken down to pre-opening our pre-opening special. I think it's like $16 per credit, so it's pretty affordable that way. um, the We're also going to have a you know packages that you can purchase if the monthly model isn't to your liking. If you'd rather do like just buy 20 and just see how that goes and see how long that lasts, if that works out better, we have those available. That's one of the nice things about being, this being our thing is we can accommodate pretty much whatever uh, customers really want. But we are focusing on the membership model. That's primarily. I think that's the simplest to kind of understand. Is hey, you get it, 8 a month, and you can use them however you want. Most of our services are in our core service list that you're open to. The only few that like I mentioned, we have a few esthetician style services, but those will be separately priced. The hyperbaric chamber has to be separately priced. That's kind of its own animal. But fortunately for us, we're going to have that's a 2-person one, and we're going to price that out as per use of the piece of equipment. So if it's 2 people that go in there, you can just split the cost, and that way, at least we're making it more accessible for the public. We're trying to make it as reasonable as we can for everybody. So that was our plan with that. Was
Yeah, and I know you and I talked offline about social wellness and just that concept, and would love to hear a little more about that. And again, kind of
yeah,
tying in. Mhm.
absolutely. That's like kind of the way we envisioned all of this, and our philosophy behind how we did all of the equipment purchasing was we tried to, whenever we could, to have that in have equipment that could accommodate multiple people. The HBOT being a good example of that, where you can have more than one person in there, because my wife's hilarious about it. She's, why am I always going to these happy hours where I just want to have conversations with my friends, but here we end up drinking a bunch of extra wine and having a bunch of food that makes me feel terrible tomorrow morning. And, why can't we go someplace and actually feel better when we leave? Right? Why isn't that a thing? And so we're trying to change that. We're trying to make that a thing. And so that's why we got a 5-person sauna that can accommodate a group of people, and they can take turns. While they're in there talking, they can take turns, run out, jump in the cold plunge for 3 minutes, and come back in, right? and have fun as a group. Or the Halo Salt booth that we have is going to be a 2-person piece of equipment. So that way, whenever you want to meet up with somebody, you can actually go someplace and have a social experience. And I think we've seen that in the fitness space as well, right? Like everybody knows, like you're just more likely to do it consistently and enjoy it when you have a gym buddy, right? When you have a recovery buddy, you're more likely to do it, right? You're more likely to be consistent every time. And that's in every in every facet of health. Like the more consistency you can build into your regimen, the more success you're going to have with it. So yeah, I think that that's really been our one of our driving philosophies. We want this to be, to the greatest degree possible, a social experience.
I figured while we're talking, I'd hop into my sauna.
There you go, man. There you go. Get a sweat on, man.
I just turned it on, so it's gonna take a little while to heat up. That's my Hume.
Nice
heater there, but figured we can chat. I don't know how the acoustics are.
Oh, that's not bad. They're not bad. Yeah.
I'll try to do our best here, but the social piece is phenomenal. I guess my question is from where I'm coming from as a physical therapist. I work on folks' wellness. We talked a little bit about it, and that's the whole goal of connecting and all this concept. But I think it's everything you're talking about is has its place, and in terms of having those objective measures, a lot of folks I think don't connect the like, oh, I'm going to go get my blood tested by my primary care physician and my cholesterol level's this. And I'm going to start taking a med. Like you mentioned, your father taking meds just to counteract side effects of other meds. And again, from that health perspective, I just had a chapter published in a book talking about Healthy for Life and ways you can assess your physical health. So I think that's the piece that I think a lot of folks miss in some of these passive modalities, as we'll call them.
Yeah.
And the research is super interesting around every single one of those modalities you talked about. I'd love to, I think we can dive deeper on all that. But yeah, I guess what's the point you're going to try to connect with other physicians, other clinicians, and just that community understanding of what wellness means?
Yeah. That's been one of the really interesting things that we're able to do, that I'm able to do right now is get out there business and talk to the people that are in this space. We're here next month beginning a new networking group for just people in the wellness space that are this is going to be through the Longmont Chamber of Commerce. So we're excited about that, where we can actually get everybody together in a space, right? We've found so many people that have been, so helpful along the way and so open. It's not like it's the wellness space is amazing to me because there's not a lot of gatekeeping going on. You know what I mean? Everybody is super excited and is like, yes. And there's also this piece. Oh yes. And there's also this piece. And then you start to say, okay, how can we integrate as many of those into here as possible? One of the things that, by the way, one of the things I didn't mention, we're going to have there just as both a service, but more as a utility, is a in-body scanner. And then that way we can have kind of a baseline, show people a baseline. But then when it's appropriate, we can say, hey, we also partner with this group over here or this person over here. There's, the holistic medical practitioners that, that we will partner with that can give people better advice than we can. Ours is primarily therapeutic, of course, but it's all integrated together. But that way we can kind of partner with a variety of different people that are out there in the space as well.
Yeah, I love it, Jim. I'm very excited to check out the space. Obviously, you guys are still under construction.
I'm excited to see it too.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you're winning that battle a little bit. Yeah. So thank you for coming on here. We didn't put the website in the show notes, but folks have questions, want to reach out to you. If someone else is maybe trying to start this somewhere in another city, best place to reach you.
It's fireandicalongmont.com, and we're excited to hear any feedback. There's contact us down at the bottom. So it's and join our interest list, and we'll keep you updated on where we are and how things are going. And there's plenty of free giveaways all the time. So yeah, jump on the interest list while you're on there.
Love it. Yeah, and as we talked about as well before we started, that we'll have to get you on here about 6 months in after your opening, see how it's progressing, what lessons we're learning from all that. And again, once I get to check it out, maybe we could do it in person at the space.
I would love it. We'll do it in the 8 spot.
There you go. I've never actually done hyperbaric, the HBO, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun too. But yeah, excited for it. But thank you again, Jim, for taking the time coming on here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
All right. We'll talk to y'all next time. Hope you got 1% better today.